Happy Friday. Giuseppe, the co-founder of Tentho. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Doing well. It's nice and rainy over here in New York. How is it in Florida?
It's sunny and warm.
That's why I'm jealous almost every day. All right, well, here we are today, quickly to have a small business chat. And today we're going to do something different. We're going to go through some of our most indexing, most popular TikTok accounting slash small business financial advice hacks and get G's opinion on it. So let's get started. First one, G, coming your way.
If you have just started a business, this is how you need to set up your bank accounts. Having an accounting system is the goal, but if you're not there yet, this is what you need to do. The way that it usually works is that all the revenue that you usually make goes into one account, and usually people pay their bills from that one account. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to create 4 more bank accounts. The trick is you need to make sure these are $0 fee accounts. A lot of banks offer this. That main account where you get all of your revenue is going to be your personal account, and you're going to leave 30% of your revenue in there. The other 4 accounts are going to be called marketing, tax, stock, and emergency. Every week, you're going to transfer 20% of your revenue into the marketing account, 10% into the tax account, 30% into the stock account, and 10% into the emergency account. So when it comes time to paying marketing bills or buying stock, you already have money set aside, and you're not stressed about where you're going to get that money from. Those are the percentages that I used, but yours might be different.
All right, you tell me why or why not was this a great advice hack?
Okay, so I don't think that this was great advice. There's a couple of things going on here that don't really make much sense. I'm a firm believer in not setting up multiple bank accounts, especially if you're already having trouble keeping track of the ins and outs of your money through one bank account. Now you're further complicating things by having to keep track of 4 different bank accounts. So that's item number 1. There's this model in the United States that's become really popular called Profit First, which has people set up a structure where there's multiple bank accounts and you transfer certain percentages into different bank accounts. There's no reason why it can't be managed through one bank account. It might work for some people because it breaks things down in a way that's easier for them to understand because they're actually looking at cash in the bank and the bank is labeled based on what it's supposed to be used for. So for some people it might work. For me, I think it further complicates things. It definitely makes your bookkeeping more complicated when you actually need to do it. The other thing I would say is too, she sets these percentages, but she doesn't really talk about like the main X factor here, which is how much money do you need to live? You might not be able to afford all of those percentages. And so determining those percentages is going to look different for everyone. 20% on marketing is a really large number of revenue to be spending on marketing. So I don't know what type of business she has, but I think it's too broad of advice, in terms of the topic. And I just don't think that it's an effective way to manage money, no matter what stage of your business you're at. There are other ways to do it.
Absolutely. That was great. And thank you for that. All right, let's go to the next one.
Here's one red flag that can trigger an audit. Classifying expenses as miscellaneous expenses. Be sure to properly classify all business expenses. Follow me for more financial and accounting tips.
Okay, so love her energy, by the way. Definitely
We need that on Friday.
agree with her on not using the miscellaneous expense account. It's something that's pretty common that people use when they don't know where to put something. They also use something called Ask My Accountant or uncategorized. Sometimes people call it suspense. All of these accounts are not any type of expense that should be put on the tax return itself. Those accounts are meant to be holding accounts until it's determined where they should be categorized, and then they should be moved out. So at the end of the year, all of those accounts should not be carrying a balance, and nothing like that should be reported on your tax return. The other thing I'll say too is that people use a lot is reimbursements. So when they reimburse themselves for expenses, a reimbursement doesn't tell me anything about what it is. What are you being reimbursed for? You also need to categorize those out to actual expense accounts based on what you're being reimbursed for.
That makes sense, especially if you are not an accountant, you wouldn't know any of that.
Yes.
All right, last one, and this is my favorite.
Great accounting hack.
Hey, here's one way I stopped getting screwed on my tax returns at the end of the year. Buy this book every single morning, go over your credit card statements, write down your expenses. Then file expenses by category. At the end of the year, I just give everything to my accountant and he expenses it for me.
That's right. You can do that right after you have your little meditation session and a sip of coffee, right? Just start filing and writing it down. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, look, if it works for him, that's all I have to say. I really think that if I was his accountant and he was handing me a book like that, I would be like, why are you giving me this? There's no reason to write things down like that unless you're paying cash for something. So if you're taking out cash and you're the type of person that likes to deal with cash and you pull cash out of your ATM all the time, obviously you need to keep track of what it is that you're buying. You're going to have to save the receipts. You're going to have to write things down so that you can remember what it was that you bought with that cash. As far as like, you know, anything else that goes on, debit cards, credit cards, things like that, we can follow the statements. We don't need you to write it down in a book. Most of the vendors that you're going to go to, it's a repetitive purchase. It's pretty easily found on Google what it was. We don't need that, and we're probably not even going to use it. If you're using an accountant who's actually living in this century, they're going to connect your bank account to an accounting system and import transactions and categorize them that way, not manually entering, you know, receipts off of paper.
Yep.
So, you know, even with the book, I think it would be a better idea for that guy to go ahead and just put things into Google Sheet. That's easily shareable with an accountant instead of writing it down on a book that costs, you know, $11 that he bought at Office Depot. I mean, I don't think it's worth it at all. It's a waste of time.
Maybe he just misses paper, the feel of paper. And
No, I mean, some people like it. I mean, I still, you know, there were times that I had clients that would hand me a check, but I like, where's your checks to print checks? And they would hand me one of those pegboard check binders.
Yeah.
The ones where you like write down, you rip it out with perforation.
That's right.
Like, okay, like, then you know that you're dealing with someone who's generationally at a different level.
Constriction, small constriction guys usually carry those around.
Exactly.
All right. Well, this was great. Look, thank you so much for today. I know we don't have a lot of time, but if anybody listening, if you have any questions, if you have any TikTok videos you want us to go over, because you're curious, if this is actually good advice or bad advice, send them to us, contact us. And as always, we're here for you. G, enjoy your weekend. Hope you have some.
Thank you. You too. That was so much fun.
Yeah, that was. Until next time, have a great one.
All right, bye.